Based on an article by Naver, Cube Entertainment is in desperate need of establishing a new group that the company can rely on since I-DLE's contracts are now coming to an end. However, you would think that a company that had such notable artists like Hyuna, 4-Minute, and CLC among others would be able to survive even if I-DLE ended up leaving the company. The truth couldn't be any different though. In October of last year, 5 members of Pentagon ended up leaving the company after their contracts came to an end. Just a month later, yet another member left, but that wasn't the end of it all. On the day when it was announced that Pentagon's Hong Sok left Cube, news came out that all B2B members also left after being with the company for 11 years. It was hit after hit for Cube, but it wasn't surprising whatsoever as it seemed like they had given up on supporting their artists altogether. When it came to B2B, which was one of the company's most legendary groups, people weren't exactly surprised when they decided not to renew their contracts. However, the issues between Cube and the group seemed to go deeper than just mismanagement. Before Cube released a statement, Sports Chosun reported that B2B members decided not to renew their contract, but the reason wasn't related to the upfront payment to the group, but the continuous payments they would have to make to keep their trademark. Sports Chosun mentioned that during talks about trademark use, Cube asked for a share of the group's earnings in return for letting them use the trademark, which led to the members not renewing their contracts. In the end, they did gain the rights to use their name and their logo, and they're also doing much better now. They're currently on an Asian tour, something they couldn't have even dreamed of during their 11 years at Cube. The members are also promoting themselves much better than the company ever promoted them, which just proves that the company was holding them back to ridiculous amounts. As for Pentagon, well, it was rather obvious that the company gave up on them after the infamous dating scandal of Dawn and Hyuna. The scandal caused Dawn to get kicked out of the group and the company, with Hyuna experiencing the same thing. However, since Pentagon produced and wrote their own music, they kept having comebacks. They had lots of comebacks in Korea and Japan, went on tours worldwide, did concerts online and offline, and had plenty of gigs, both as a group and individually. In the past few years, Cube ran into financial trouble, which led them to spend less money on their artists, Pentagon included. Their last Korean comeback, which was back in January 2022, was allegedly supposed to be their final one, but they surprised everyone by staying active through the rest of 2022. The mismanagement on the company's part didn't stop though. We would be here for an entire video if we were to discuss it all, but let's specifically talk about their last mini album as a group, Pado, which was a Japanese comeback since they were basically blocked from promoting in Korea. Cube only made a handful of albums which were sold in just one store, so it caused them to run out quickly. According to fans, the photo cards weren't even selfies, just leftover teaser pictures. The music video wasn't even posted on Pentagon's channel, and there were no dance videos. It was no surprise that they didn't renew their contracts in the end. Now when it comes to Cube's group Lightsum, they're rumored to have debuted earlier than expected because Cube's executives weren't sure whether I-DLE would be able to survive Soojin's scandal. Their debut was rushed, but still managed to generate some buzz, though not as much as other debuts of that year. Their first album sold well, and the music video for their debut song has 20 million views as of now. However, Vanilla didn't seem to be the right song to debut with, as it offered nothing new or fresh that would make them stand out against the competition. As a result, people who were initially excited lost interest, and the hype quickly faded away. Based on the promotions and the infrequent comebacks, it looks like Cube have already lost interest in the group, which is really unfortunate seeing as the members are so talented and had a real chance to get big. The group also lost 2 members, Huyeon and Jian, in October of 2022. While the reason for their departure wasn't disclosed, it's highly speculated that Cube removed them due to the group's low sales and lack of interest from the public. Sadly, they were considered filler members by many and were the youngest, so the company might have cut them off to generate attention. When it comes to I-DLE, one would think that they would get the best treatment since they're the ones that bring the most money to Cube, but that isn't the case. In fact, before they became the biggest moneymakers in the company, the group survived only because Soyeon was there to run everything. They wouldn't have even debuted when they did if Soyeon hadn't taken over. In an interview with MTV News, she explained, "At first, I really didn't know I'd be writing these songs, but our debut was getting delayed because we didn't have a song, so that's when I thought I should write our song and started writing a title track." It seems like Cube didn't even believe that the girls would be successful because they didn't put any effort into their debut whatsoever. The company was basically giving up on them before they even got a chance to showcase their skills to the public. The group's debut song Latata was produced through pirated software because the company didn't pay for it and Soyeon had to work with the very little resources that she had. It's rumored that the company was nearing bankruptcy at the time, which is why the teasers and basically everything about I-DLE's debut was so low quality. The teasers literally had the girls standing in front of a wall that had a plastic bag duct taped to it. Let's not also forget the infamous photo shoot in the back alley where the only props were a ratty couch and a trash container. The set was also very simple and the members had to choreograph the intro, intro, dance break, and the outro themselves. The album didn't do all that well either, as it managed to sell only 260 copies on the first day, so things weren't looking very good in general. However, the girls did manage to win the public's hearts with their music, and only got more popular with each comeback. But unfortunately, some things don't change, and Cube is still stuck in their old mindset. Soyeon has been the driving force behind every comeback the group had, and she thought out every song and concept very carefully. In fact, she used to make a PowerPoint about every comeback, presenting it to the Cube's officials in hopes to get it greenlighted. She's written and produced almost every track in every album, and sometimes takes care of the music video filming as well as the outfits and styles of the members. She, along with the other members who have also contributed heavily to the songs and everything else, is basically the reason why the group is so successful these days. On the other hand, Cube still doesn't contribute all that much to the group and tries to limit the resources given to them. For example, the members paid for half of the budget for the Super Lady music video because, as it seems, Cube wasn't very keen on the idea of spending so much money on it. According to them, the music video was a really big scale one since it had 100 dancers and 500 extras, so the costs were a lot higher compared to their previous music videos. They revealed that they paid for half of the $821,000, which was the cost of the music video, and the company paid for the other half. Not only that, Soyeon also paid for the encore stage of the songs they performed during a concert. If the members are making the songs, contributing to the choreos and the budget, what exactly is the company doing? Well, they're pretty much overworking them to the point that the members' health has started to get affected. Since their comeback with Queen Card in May of 2023, I-DLE have maintained a relentless schedule. They performed on music shows for 3 weeks and appeared at numerous university events. In June, they embarked on their global tour, which they kicked off with a 2-day concert in Seoul on June 18th. In July, they traveled to Taiwan, Thailand, and Hong Kong. Their schedule became even more intense as they toured North America and Europe. Throughout August, they performed in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, New York, Atlanta, and Chicago with minimal breaks. In September, they continued their tour in London, Amsterdam, Brussels, and Berlin. The tour concluded with performances in Japan on September 27th and 28th, Macau on October 13th and 14th, and Singapore on October 29. Fans thought that maybe the members would get a chance to rest after the tour was over, but Cube had other plans. Following the tour, they participated in Mama 2023 on November 28th before embarking on the Jingle Bell Tour in the United States. They performed in Los Angeles on December 2nd, in Chicago on the 4th, in Detroit on the 5th, in New York on the 8th, in Boston on the 10th, in Washington on the 11th, and finally in Philadelphia on December 12th. But that wasn't all, as they immediately had to return to Korea for year-end stages. They appeared at Gyeongdaechukje on December 14th, Gyeongdaejeon on the 25th, and Gyeongdaejeon on the 31st. They were so busy that throughout 2023, Cube issued a total of 5 statements about the health of the members, highlighting concerns about their well-being. It seems like the company is trying to milk the members before their contracts are up because they have an inkling that the members might not renew. They have complained about Cube too many times for them to decide to stay in the company. Another company could give them a higher budget and better planning and management, so the girls wouldn't have to worry about whether they have to contribute to the next comeback or not. What's sure though is that I-DLE hold all the cards and have insane bargaining power, to the point that it's not sure if Cube can even afford them. Since they depend on the group entirely for their earnings, they're going to become more and more expensive to maintain, and Cube simply doesn't have the roster of artists to handle them. However, this can all be blamed on Cube. The company has basically remodeled the whole agency to focus on I-DLE in the past couple of years, to the point that it seems like they had forgotten about their other groups. But when is putting all of your eggs in one basket a good idea? To draw comparisons, Cube currently depends on I-DLE like Big Hit used to rely on BTS, but they aren't giving I-DLE the same support Big Hit gave BTS. However, once Big Hit realized that they couldn't rely only on one group to stay afloat, they started acquiring other companies to diversify their portfolio. Cube can't do the same, but they're also not doing anything to promote their other artists, just so they can have other sources of income in case I-DLE decide to leave. As we mentioned, Lightsum may as well not exist in the eyes of the company, while their new group nowadays is not doing as well as they probably expected. In fact, Cube said that they wanted I-DLE fans to support the group, but haven't done anything to have the two interact or get these fans interested in nowadays whatsoever. Some of the fans aren't even aware that Cube has debuted a new group in the first place. On the other hand, one thing needs to be said: if I-DLE decide to stay under Cube, nobody will blame them because the company gives them creative freedom despite the limited resources. But considering how ambitious Soyeon is, she probably wants more than just a regular contract renewal with a bigger paycheck. Maybe she will ask for a sub-label so the members can manage themselves, since they're basically doing that either way. Whatever the members decide to do, it's sure that they will have each other's back. All in all, it depends on what Cube puts on the table for them at renewal time. If they pledge to keep backing them in group or solo projects with the same same creative input and better pay, then sticking around makes sense.